Yo, what's going on, guys? Schmeck here. Just wanted to make a little bit of a video just going over my tank sets for Genesis. Had a few people DM me this week about some things I was running, so as always, I just kind of like to upload sets for myself and so you guys can see them, ask questions if you have any, all that good stuff. I think in the beginning, I'll just kind of quickly go through everything. And then afterwards, I'll go back and talk about stuff. That way, if you don't want to stay here for the whole time, you don't have to. You can just see the gear real quick and then move on. And here's final boss set. Alrighty, easy. Go back to strength here. I guess there's not a ton to go over. I'll just, briefly talk about some things I ended up doing or why I decided to do what I did. I think for Gen, especially if you're Butcher, just be like 350 strength and 150 dex. Dex will obviously be good, especially on some of like the named or single target fights. Having your bleeds last for longer, that 150 dex will be nice. I decided to rock 25 focus because I think the cooldown reduction might have a little bit more value, especially like on tree with my CC, since I'm kind of just being a CC player. And I don't know, at the end of the day, like DPS is good, but this doesn't increase your damage by that much, so just messed around with 25 focus this week to see how it feels. My opinion felt nice. It was noticeable if I didn't run it, so I decided to stick with it. I've tried going 5 con in the past, just for like some of the normal parts. In my opinion, not worth it. 50 con makes you way tankier, and it's nice to have a little bit of that HP threshold to keep you alive so that you can have more uptime on your light attacks. So I would just say 50 con. I don't think it's worth it going 5, in my opinion. But for you to do what you like, I think 50 to 100 is probably a good start. And stick with 50 just if you're more experienced. For tree phase, the other thing I was gonna mention is like my stats. It's like last rotation, as you can see, I have kind of like arguably best in slot gear here for a lot of things. I have all my weapon perks, but last rotation I decided to like sacrifice a lot of like my BIS armor pieces so that I could have better stat splits. And really I just need like more dex if I wanted to make this work. So like I would have had to use a shitty dex amulet that I had. I would have had to not use resolve and instead rock a random dex piece. So I kind of just decided to prio like my armor perks instead of just a BIS split. And it really only affects like this build here. Like if I had a little bit of better gear, I could go 350 strength here and then drop the dex. I feel like I'm wasting some dex, but it's not the end of the world. You'll see like for these two pieces, the only reason I have these is because they're 700. I think when I didn't have anything spec'd here, I was like 192 or like 96 con. So every con piece I could get 700 just meant that I could spec more stats into doing damage instead of for my boss sets. So nothing crazy special here. I am rocking the nimble coat. I do think it's really good because you're just doing CC basically. So if all the values on your cooldowns, I'd prefer a strike damage here, but I just don't have one unfortunately. And standard. So I think with 25 focus and nimble, like my CC rotation was just kind of insane. I think it's very worth it. When I did a few runs on EU with no focus and I didn't have nimble coat because I was trying it out, it was very noticeable not having that extra like 13% cooldown or whatever it is. So the only thing I'd like here, so yeah, on this set I would like a crowded bludgeon piece, which I do not have with light con, and I would like a strike damage ring instead of this, but I just don't have it unfortunately. So those are two pieces. If I could get them, I'd like to have them, but is what it is, you know? And then for Caretaker, we did Wizard's Hat to hit 50 int. 50 int over specking just straight dex is a little bit more damage. So in my opinion, worth it to do. Empowered Amulet is going to be really important since you should be light attacking. And then just staying with Butcher for bosses, of course. Here's my gem split. I just have the one opal in all my boss sets because the desiccated chain still bugs sometimes and it can double hit you running into the fight. And if it double hits me with 0 void, I would just insta-die. So I'd actually like to hit 200 dex for Caretaker because you do actually... Oh wait, never mind. I'm wrong. I guess this might actually be kind of nice, but I didn't hit it because of the focus, and there's really only one part that you do, like probably like a full backstab chain on, so it's not the end of the world. So I think I have... No, I'm just curious to get it up. Let me see the actual damage comparisons that I did. So yeah, if you like stay featherweight, kind of you can just look at like all these right here, these top 4, but you can tell that, you know, running your 50 int is just going to be a little bit more damage than anything you could do with featherweight. And I think because you should be, what's it called? Because you should be heavy attacking for empowered in light, there's really no reason to be like Wrath. So heavy attacking so that you get your empower cap is going to be a little bit more value. I could maybe cook around a little bit with things, but I think with speedrunning I might change some things, but yeah. And then here's just my gem split again, yeah. And then for Under the Bridge, we just swap my con so that I hit like 300. Again, I'd really like it if I could get my dex, like no dex here, and go up to like 250 strength, but it just doesn't always work. And just like comparing the SNS damage, it's almost comparable. It's just your hammer damage that isn't as good. Obviously, I would not use this amulet if I could, but I don't have any other void ammies with con, so we're working with what we got out here. I guess now that I think about it, I actually could have just used this and then probably used my empowered ammy, but probably not much of a difference. Just for that part. I guess it would have been nicer though. And then green creeper, we swap our magnified to dex. So our stats look like this. Got our shield rush, our resolve. And Butcher, of course. Fortified Ami. Slash damage because we're on Wrath. I don't think there's anything too crazy. I don't know about going 5 con on the final boss anymore, man. Like, I think we did 35 runs this week and I died to the slam like 5 times. One of them was just complete desync bullshit. And the other 4, I might be able to figure out a workaround to those. But it still feels desyncy. Like, I'm not 100% convinced it's my fault that I'm dying. Just like when we watch them back, the timing just looks inconsistent. So I'm thinking even if I could do something like go 50 con and then I could do like 25 strike and the rest slash. And then just in case some bullshit happens, I wouldn't die from like the strike hit. Because even if I died in like, what, 5 out of the 35 runs I said when I watched my VODs back, like you could just throw a run on a steamer because of desync and that would really suck. So I don't know. I don't know like how hard I would commit. And then maybe, you know, if I did some strike, I would just get rid of this, basically. My opal. And I could just gem a lot better. Just eat the desiccated chain if it pops. But that's really about it for builds. If you guys have any questions, let me know. As always. I'll just go over my weapon mastery real quick. This is pretty standard tree this week. Slow is probably good on your shield rush this week, just for the extra damage for your greatsword player and your spear player. You could potentially take counterattack this week because you actually do block in a few instances. Quite a few actually, but I've always been a mobility enjoyer, so. But I actually think counterattack in Genesis would actually have good value. Especially because you're rocking Empowered on your amulet for a lot of things. So this could actually have good value. I might change that, actually, now that I think about it. But I kind of always take mobility, because I don't know. I'm a mobility enjoyer. What else? Warhammer tree this week. Pretty standard. Flail tree, no human shield because I was using it for some normal parts. I don't like taking this perk. I think it's a waste of time. I just want to trip and then get back to doing other things. Maybe it could be good at some point though. And I think that's all I use. I did end up using Hatchet on the final boss to try and min-max Carnelians in our DPS a little bit more. And then also if something ever happens where like you accidentally get stammed or something, or the boss bugs at the end, you know, you have your Death Defy so the run isn't thrown. And if you get stammed, you could maybe swap to your Hatchet so that you could just eat the death or whatever the attack she does if you're gonna die from it. Just kind of a little bit of an extra insurance, and I didn't know what else to run. So Hatchet actually felt good to me this week. I think that's it. Alright, sweet. I hope you guys enjoy the score run we did. If you have any questions on the build or why I ran what I ran, you know, as always, feel free to ask me. I appreciate you guys supporting the content. I'm a little sick this week, but we should be pretty good soon. And I'll see you guys next week for more runs on Twitch. Later.